Hello and welcome to Best WP7 Games. Today we're looking at the imaginatively titled Tanks Classic, a throwback to the classic genre of tank combat games originated with the arcade game Tank in 1974. Perhaps better known for the home release of Combat on the old Atari, or indeed for the Battle Tanks mode in Tron, the arcade game. Anyway, as you can see, there's a fair few levels, so I've not unlocked all of them, and there's 5 tanks to play with, though I've not unlocked the 5th. We'll just stick with the standard one, which has standard amount of health, standard speed, standard turning speed, and standard amount of shots it can fire in a row. Anyway, as you can see, the graphics are very simple, and there's nothing wrong with that. And this is a game that's openly trying to sort of remind the player of this old genre. Which isn't, it's a genre we haven't seen very much since then. It's been replaced and succeeded by modern shooters and twin-stick shooters and games like that. Though of course twin-stick shooters are also a very old genre, going back to games like Robotron. But there's nothing wrong with the graphics evoking that era. For anyone who remembers these games, it's actually quite nice to go back and play a game that, while it's not quite mimicking the graphical style, this is a bit later than the early tank games in terms of graphical quality. It's still close enough, and of course there were tank games released in the 80s that would have looked like this. And as a gameplay type, it still works quite well. I mean, it's a simple design. You move, aim and shoot, and all your vehicle and all the enemies move relatively slowly and turn slowly, so a lot of the gameplay comes in planning your shots. It's not just like a modern reaction-based shoot 'em up. As you can see, there are also power-up vehicles which drop power-up, obviously enough. As you can see in this case, it's a power-up that looks like a bomb. It's not actually a smart bomb as you might expect, rather it kills one random enemy. There's only one enemy on the screen, obviously. It's fairly obvious who's going to get blown up. And that was a shield, which just increases your maximum lives. So yeah, fairly straightforward power-ups as you'd expect. So yeah, I know it's a fairly standard game, fits with the old genre quite well. I've unlocked the first 16 levels. I'll just quickly jump to the 16th, so you can see how it goes on. And the graphics do change a bit, as you can see. And now we've got a nice rainy atmosphere, the colour scheme has been dimmed, and you get the occasional flashes of lightning. It works quite well, and there's a wealth of levels, and there's a variety of game modes. There's 4 game modes, of which I've unlocked 2. I can't tell you what the last 2 are, because I never actually unlocked them. And the reason for this is the controls. And the basic idea is that you tap anywhere to make your tank move there. You swipe the direction to aim in that direction, and you tap the big red button to shoot. Unfortunately, these controls are a bit fiddly to use, to say the least. Often it will misinterpret a tap to move as a tap to shoot, or vice versa. And in fact, perfect timing. Sometimes it glitches, as you can see there. I was stuck in place. I can't aim, I can't turn, until it just won't react. So until I tap on an area away from where I'm currently standing. This isn't a common error, to be fair. Of all its control glitches, this isn't the most common one. But it shows just how irritating the controls can be. It's also very hard to move anywhere close to your tank within, say, 2 squares, because it almost always will want to interpret you tapping there as tapping on the tank, which is in order to stop moving, not to move. So yeah, that does make this game incredibly frustrating to play at times. Now we'll jump into the one mode I have unlocked, which is the classic mode. As you can see, the graphics have switched here. I mean, in the early levels they look very Spartan, very much like an old... I used to think of a NES game most of all, which is odd because I never owned a NES, but it's the black backdrops and the very simple tiles that make me think of it. You'll also notice you only have one shield, and you can in fact only fire 1 shot at a time. Let's just say one of your shots can be in the air at a time. If you're right next to a wall, or right next to the enemy, you can fire very fast, but otherwise, very, very slow shots. You also turn a lot faster than normal when you do in the other mode. So you're a lot more manoeuvrable, but more vulnerable. And that was just sort of the problem with trying to move within 2 spaces of yourself. And again, very awkward control system. Yeah. This doesn't look very attractive here, but it is intentionally looking like an NES game, and there are actually some other interesting modes we'll see in a bit. I'll just have to go a second. Sorry about that. And there we go, I just got killed by the controls, and one of the more common problems, which is if you swipe left, it turns right. And watch that again. Swipe left, tank turns right, and then you get shot in the back and die. Now this happens a lot. Sometimes when you swipe in one direction, it'll read it as, for some reason, being the exact opposite direction, which often results in your immediate death. Yeah, let's skip past this level to show you the next one. As you see, the graphical style's changed to, well, it's obviously mimicking a Game Boy. And it works really well, and again, it's not attractive as you'd expect. It's looking like a Game Boy game, but it's a nice touch. And it was almost enough for me to want to persevere, despite the controls, to see the other what graphical styles you unlock as you get further through the game. Sadly, almost is the opposite. If this game was to solve its control problems, I'd be much happier to play it, well, to complete it. As it is, even at 79p on the marketplace, I really can't recommend it. It's just a bit too fiddly. It's a real shame. There's a lot of promise here, and they clearly love the genre, which is important for people working in it. Just fix the controls, guys, and this would be a really nice game I'd be happy to recommend.